qualify that, quantify that, expand on that, elaborate on that term. Let's have a meeting of the minds, okay, so that we're not in confusion. We're not like the people of this world that are in confusion. They're in Babylon, like it's written in Scripture. The instruction is to come out of Babylon, my people, right? And so, all those that consider themselves righteous and awake, our job is to go out there and win souls, win friends for God. Come out of Babylon, my people. All those that hear my voice in the wilderness, do not harden your hearts, but seek what I'm trying to tell you. Seek my voice, and the truth will set us all free. And when we're free, we'll see things through God's eyes, and we will have the right attitude, the right spirit, the right belief system, the right opinion, the right philosophy, the right credo in how to approach life and individuals and society, and how to look at things properly, and how to affect change as best as we can, because in that sense we're all very little. We have great power, but we all are just a drop in the proverbial bucket in terms of affecting change in this world. All the best we can do is be God's devout foot soldiers, his hands and ears, eyes and ears on the ground. That's not a religious thing. It's a cosmic duty we have to our fellow human beings, to our fellow man, to really affect change. I want things to get better. I want to be happy. I want to be free, and it's not the kind of thing you can go alone. I mean, if it was, I'm a smart enough guy, I would have found a way. I would have found a way to become extravagantly wealthy. It's not that hard. It's really not. So when I hear people like Alex Jones say it's not that hard, work hard, you can, I agree that America is probably the best country in the world to become fabulously wealthy, and it really isn't that hard. And you really don't have to be that smart, intellectual, or anything. But you do have to be aggressive, and you do have to really jump in that pool, worldliness. And that's something I don't want to do. But there's ways you can do it without compromising your integrity, which I strongly recommend. I mean, because I speak out against a lot of jobs out there, a lot of careers people are invested in that I really see as I don't want to have anything to do with that. I don't want to be in the lending industry. I don't want to be in the real estate industry. I don't want to be in the government industry. I don't want to be in the social welfare industry. I don't want to be in the crime industrial complex industry. I don't want to be in the dubious warfare industrial complex. I don't want to be involved in anything I see as a job whose relevance depends upon the problems, the social, political, and economic problems of society continuing, being perpetuated in perpetuity. I'm not, I cannot do it. I cannot be invested in the problem. I can't, and I strongly recommend that anybody that has a job like that, you be honest. You confess your sin before God and say, look, I'm doing this because I'm scared. I'm financially insecure. And, but you've got to be honest. You got to say, look, am I willing to be on the other end of my business practices? If you're a big highfalutin landlord like Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki, you're making all this money and you're jacking up your rent, you're getting $50 billion a year from Section 8 housing so that poor people can afford housing, that subsidy, welfare subsidy, that goes straight in the pockets of so many of these rich property management people and speculators, investors, and landlords and such. Be honest. Are you willing? Do you want to be? You want some guy like you over you and just taking all the money, and then blaming the welfare, blaming the poor people for all the taxes people are paying into the problem. The problem just gets worse. You understand? I don't want anything to do with that. I'm not condemning anybody, but I'm saying, well, let's be honest. Let's expose it. It all comes down to economics. We need to be able to define progress. Okay, progress has nothing to do with left, right. Okay, this is just progress. Harrelson Smith was on. I was still watching these 34-hour special Alex Jones on his show, and he was talking about this left-right thing, and I think he was saying that it came from the French Revolution, right? That's the other term for the French Revolution. I can't remember, but Yeah, it just had something to do with the left and the right, So these terms have been carried on over the, centuries, and we're still using them today, but they're just terms that aid to divide us further. Instead of realizing, look, let's have an exam. All you people that believe, look, I'm a devout leftist. There's no way you're going to persuade me to be a conservative, okay? You're never going to persuade me to be on the right. And then we take a group of people that are hardcore, devout conservatives and say, there's no way I'd ever be a lefty. Okay. And then we have an exam, 20 questions that we have a consensus. We say, yes, this, if you say yes or no to this, that qualifies you. That means you're on the side of the leftists, or you're on the side of the conservatives, whatever, the right. And then you found out that all these people that are so passionate, that really believe what they believe, and they really believe that they're a liberal, they come out of that exam finding out that they were actually conservative. Okay, because they believed in logic, they believed in doing the math, and so they believed in progress, being able to be a definable, non-subjective term that had nothing to do with left or right. And it just meant a raising standard of living, okay? Prosperity, that's freedom, okay? That's what's going to bring us happiness. You understand? The more free you feel, the happier you'll be. And the only way to accomplish that is through your currency going up in worth. And, I'm not going to go into the whole Bitcoin thing. I mean, that's something else. I mean, that is a bubble getting ready to burst, in my opinion. Caveat emptor. I don't know. Max Kaiser thinks it could go to $1 million a coin or something. I'm not giving anybody advice on that deal. I have no idea. All I know is that a whole hell of a lot of people have been left out of that loop, and I'm not okay with that at all. Any more than I'm okay with the Federal Reserve doing what they've done to currency, debasing it by well over 90% since the inception of the dollar in 1913. Okay, this is a bunch of bull. That's anti-progress. That's retrogressive. That's regression, okay? That's a lowering of your standard of living. That is an invention of poverty, an increase in poverty. It increases the imbalance in society, the wealth and income disparity. That's all it does. And it produces misery, which is the opposite of happiness. It takes away freedom. It makes people feel oppressed. It's very burdensome. Okay, and it's wrong. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's ungodly. It's unholy. And what more can I say about it? Anyhow, I said I didn't want to pontificate a lot, so I'm gonna end it right there as far as this speech goes, and I'm gonna get into some of the current events because I'm sure I'm gonna find lots of other stuff to talk about and expand on. But it's just so important that people understand fundamental economics, okay, and understand this root of all evil and what's going on here. That this is a big deal, man. I mean, and one thing everybody can do is just be empowered with the simple truth. You don't have to get into Harvard degrees, and people want to debate economics. They think they're so damn smart. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be so damn smart. You can understand it. You can learn everything that Alex Jones knows. You can know by listening to him. Everything that I know, you can know by listening to me. And what do I know? I know stuff that Adam Smith taught in his Wealth of Nations book. Probably the world's greatest economist in all of history, an honest man that devoted his life to study the economic principles. But it's all very simple. Just understand that, look, without a willing workforce, all the money in the world is of no use. So that every nation's single greatest asset, by logic, by default, is a willing workforce. You understand? So let's not pretend it's something otherwise, like it's some money. This is an invention of men. God did not create money, okay? He doesn't want it. He wants us equal. This earth belongs to all of us. It's not a radical idea. It just sounds radical to tell you that this earth belongs as much to you as it does to me and him and her and all of us. In which case, what? We're all born free. We're born infinitely wealthy. Do you understand? That we should only be serving one another of our own free will and accord. And that's only reasonable logic. That's not radical. That's what the God of the Bible would have you be, the free, okay? And that's what we're striving for, is ultimate freedom, complete, absolute freedom, total freedom, complete freedom. And the only way we could do that is to be free from the money masters of misery. People will say, well, how would the system work? It would break down. Prove it. At least let's take it in that direction as far as we can to universal prosperity. And you showed me where it's going to break down. We've been going the other way, so there's no way you can prove it. It hasn't been allowed to work. Do you understand? Okay, while it could, we could have a huge excess, superfluity, abundance of everything. Not only the things we want, not only the things we need as human beings to survive, the essential human needs, but all the things we want we could have in abundance. That's what I firmly believe, and the system won't break down. So why can't we have it? There is no good excuse. Nobody is going to say, I'm going to be confident in standing before God and rationalizing and explaining my belief system to God. I'm going to say, no, it's okay that we withhold from others, even though there's no good reason to do it, even though there's plenty of that thing. We could stamp out houses like pancakes these days. So you're going to stand before God and you're going to give justification. You're going to give a basis for your belief system. There is no reason, and certainly no Christian should stand behind that philosophy. So some people say, oh, this guy is really liberal. I don't care. I'm still a righteous dude. I'm still not saying anything that these are things I'm not only willing to, I offer myself, but I offer you for everybody. Equality. That's all I'm saying. And you can't prove to me the system would break down if we were equal, if we all had everything we need for sure, to be sure, and then all things we want, or at least to just gradually see if we had sound economic policies, then these things would come about gradually. Gradually, minimum wage, you start at $1, you begin the game. Okay, minimum wage is $1. And from there, it goes down to 50 cents. People say, well, what are you talking about? How are you going to call that progress? Well, here's how. Because the buying power of that $1 suddenly went to $5. So who needs $1 to get paid an hour for work? All you need is 50 cents an hour. What I'm saying, it's a two-way street. Okay, so we need checks and balances. Why we haven't had progress is not by incompetence or stupidity. These people running the show have Harvard degrees and PhDs and master's, all this crap. But it's these grand puppeteers manipulating every facet of the government body, the government that's running the show. And they're all in there pulling the strings, and HUD and, the welfare system. And, they're manipulating everything to make sure that it doesn't really advantage the poor, that they keep continuing to increase poverty, even though they've got, hey, we've set up all these social welfare agencies. Yet the problem just keeps getting worse. And it's like, good God Almighty, at least we've got to admit this, that civilization, society has failed miserably. And then people blame capitalism. They don't understand. They're in ignorance. They're in confusion. They're in Babylon. They don't understand. No, it's not capitalism at all. It's crony capitalism that has done this. They say, well, yeah, but capitalism is in the term. Well, it doesn't matter. I could call myself anything I want. I could call myself a block of cheese. Yet you know what a block of cheese, you know how to identify. You say, well, you're not a block of cheese, idiot. I know you're a human being. Yes, but you understand, a term is like that, though. I mean, what better way to frame somebody? You say, well, I absolutely hate Christians, or I absolutely hate Muslims, or I absolutely hate Jews, or I absolutely hate Buddhists. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to frame the crap out of them. I'm going to call myself a Buddhist. I'm going to call myself a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim. I'm going to do some heinous act. I mean, what better way to besmirch an entire faith like that? You understand? So that's all. Words are nothing without evidence, without some backing up, without a meeting of the minds as to the exact, precise definition, interpretation of the term, the meaning. What are we talking about here? Exactly. So make sure you get into an economic discussion with somebody. Make sure you know your nuts and bolts. You know 2 + 2 = 4. Beyond that, you really don't have to know much math. You just have to be honest and call somebody out and say, well, wait a minute. I can tell you why we should have progress. Because according to the law of supply and demand, and seeing the industrial age in full bloom, mechanization, automation, state-of-the-art equipment, technologies, and all this stuff, it gets easier and easier and easier to produce the things we want and need and want. Okay, so that's the basis by which you argue supply and demand, capitalism, free market, and what it produces. Okay, your currency, whatever currency you're using, and we all use the dollar. Okay, we're not all using Bitcoin. You might use PayPal, but it's measured in dollars, and Bitcoin is measured in dollars. Everything's measured in dollars against dollars, or gold, whatever it is. Okay, it's all fungible assets, right? It's all measured in dollars. So at the end of the day, that is the universal currency. That is the one you want to go up in worth. It's as simple as this. Ask a child if would you rather pay 10 cents for that pack of gum or 50 cents for that pack of gum? A little kid. You understand what I mean? It's just about being honest. It's not about being particularly intellectual. Okay, because every single kid on the face of this earth, bar none, is going to tell you they would rather pay 10 cents for a pack of gum. And they would say, yes, that's progress to take gum from 50 cents a pack, okay, when it was difficult to supply enough for all those people that wanted to be chewing gum out there, and to take it to 10 cents a pack. And the effect that would have, how that spreads like in other arenas, okay, like spot fires. I talk about chain reaction inflation. Well, it's chain reaction deflation, which translates to chain reaction currency inflation. Your currency keeps going up in worth relative to this, relative